Good morning, children. Let's start our first lesson, that is a letter to God. Here, children, I am going to give you the line by line explanation of the lesson. Okay, so it is written by G.L. Fluentis. The writer of this lesson is G.L. Fluentis. In this lesson, the writer is trying to give us or trying to explain us through the example how do some people have firm faith in God. So how people they have a deep faith, unshakable faith in God. So let's read the story. This story, let's start before you read. They say faith can move mountains. It's really true, children. It's a saying said by old people or said by great people that if you have faith in something, that faith can move the mountains. You can do anything if you believe, if you have faith, if you are determined, that faith can do anything for you. But what should we put our faith in? We should have faith in what? This is the question this story delicately poses. In this story, we have a question that in whom we should have the faith. So Lencho, the story is about a farmer whose name is Lencho. Lencho is a farmer who writes a letter to God. From the name, it is very well clear that a letter to God. That there is in this story, the writer or the hero or the main character is the farmer whose name is Lencho. He writes a letter to God when his crops are ruined, when his crops are totally destroyed, asking for 100 pesos. He asks God to give him 100 pesos. Does Lencho's letter reach God? In this story, we are going to see whether Lencho's letter reaches to God. Does God send him the money? Is God going to send him the money? Think what your answers to these questions would be. And you can imagine, very well think of whether his letter will be answered, whether he will be sent money or not. Now there is an activity, children, that we are not going to do. So let us switch over to the story. The house. From here the story starts. The house, the only one in the entire valley. There was only one house in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. It was on the top of a low hill. Crest is a flat surface. It was on the flat surface of a low hill. From this height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. From that height of the house was situated on the crest of a hill, it was on a height. From that height, one would be able to see the river which was flowing nearby, and one could see the field. That field was of ripe corn. Corn was ripen. It was the field of corn field it was, and the crop was ripen, and there were flowers too. One could see that to see the condition of the flowers or to see the crops in the field, one could very well guess that the harvest is going to be so good. Means this year the yield of the crop will be very good. Means the crops will be very good this year. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour, or at least a shower. Only one thing was required at this moment, and that one thing was the rain shower or raindrops. Who knows? Throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had nothing else but to see the sky towards the northeast. Throughout the morning, Lencho was busy, or Lencho kept on looking at the sky. Which side? Northeast side. The one who knew his field intimately. Lencho was very much familiar. Intimately means very much familiar, closely. Intimately is closely, means very much familiar with the crops, with his field. So he kept on looking at the northeast sky, hoping to get a rain shower. Now we are really going to get some water. woman, he said to the lady of the house that now it is the time for the rain, or it is about to rain. The woman who was preparing supper, the lady of the house who was preparing the meal, replied, she answered, yes, God willing. Yes, definitely it will rain if the God wills, if the God wants. The older boys were working in the field. The older boys were working in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house. The description of the family is given. The older members of the family were busy in the fields while the younger children, they were playing near the house. Until the woman called to them all. Until they were playing till the time they were called by the lady of the house to have their meal. Come for dinner. She called everyone to have dinner. It was during the meal that, just as Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall, as Lencho had already predicted that it is about to rain. So while they were having their dinner, that time only the rain started. Big drops of rain began to fall. Big drops of rain started falling down. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. In the northeast sky, one could see the huge clouds in the form of mountains. They were so huge as if they are mountains. Here the description of the clouds, or the clouds are being compared to the mountains because they were quite big. Could see the clouds were approaching in the northeast sky. The air was fresh and sweet. As the raindrops started falling on the ground, the air also became pure. It was smelling fresh. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body, and when returned he exclaimed, these aren't raindrops falling from the sky, they are the new coins. Here the man went out to feel the fresh, or the first raindrops on his body. He wanted to enjoy the pleasure, he wanted to enjoy the feeling of the falling raindrops on his body. So he left his meal and he went out. And then when he returned, he exclaimed, he joyfully said, these aren't raindrops. He's compared here rainstones with the coins. He said, these are not the raindrops. They are the coins, new coins falling from the sky. The big raindrops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5. Here he has compared the raindrops with the coins. The bigger drops of the rain are being compared to the 10-cent pieces, means they were quite big, so they were 10 paisa. And the smaller drops are compared to the 5 cent. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flower. He regarded the field of ripe corn with its flower draped in a curtain of rain. He had a satisfaction, he has a feeling of contentment that his field is finely covered, or draped means covered, in the rain. Total ripe corn with its flower is totally covered with the rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow. But suddenly all his happiness changed into something else. What it was? What happened actually suddenly? Suddenly there was a strong gush of wind started blowing. And along with the heavy rain, large hailstones began to fall. Along with the heavy wind, large hailstones began to fall. These truly did resemble new silver coins. These hailstones, here he has compared. There the raindrops were compared to the 5 cent and 10 cent. Here now the hailstones are being compared to the silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. Now again the comparison is being made. Hailstones are now here being compared to the frozen pearls. He said the boys, or the younger children of the house, went out to collect these frozen pearls. It's really getting bad now, exclaimed the man. Now the man was sad. He exclaimed sorrowfully. He said that it is getting bad now. I hope it passes quickly. He prayed to God that this hailstone should pass quickly. It did not pass, but it did not pass quickly. For an hour the hail rained on the house. Continuously for 1 hour, the hailstones were falling on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, and in the whole valley. The hailstone covered the houses, the valley, the field. Everything was covered under hailstones. The field was white as if covered with salt. The field was looking like as if the salt is being spread or sprinkled all over the field. Not a leaf remained on the trees. Not even a single leaf was remained on the leaf. Because of the hailstone, everything was destroyed. The corn was totally destroyed. The corn was also destroyed. It was finished. The flowers were gone from the plants. Flowers had also fallen down from the plants. Lencho's soul was filled with sadness. Now, here, the Lencho was completely sad. His soul, he had a feeling of sadness deep from his heart. When the storm passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his son, when the storm finished, he said in the middle of the field and he told his son, he talked to his sons and said, a plague of locusts have left more than this. He said, locust means the small insects which sometimes destroy the complete field. He said that these hailstones have left nothing in the fields. If our fields would have been attacked by locusts, there must be something left. But these hailstones have left nothing for them. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn. They will not have anything this year. That night, a sorrowful one. That night was a sorrowful one. Completely sorrowful one. There were deep sorrow in the family. All our work for nothing. They were saying that whatever the hard work they had done to get a good harvest has already gone into vain. There is no one who can help us. We will go hungry this year. They were saying, now they were talking among themselves that this year they will go hungry. No one can save them from starvation. So children, let us finish the first part here. The remaining part will be done in the next video. So please all of you go through the video, and if you find anything difficult, please send your queries and find out the meaning of the difficult words also at the same time. And the question here for the oral comprehension, please try to write the answers of those questions in the rough copy, not in the fair copy. Okay.